Welcome to my little space where heart and hook stitch up a place where we can together make a refuge safe for all our sake. Welcome back. I hope you watched last week's vlog because that was funny. That was a lot of work that went into that one. And I have here the products, the main products of last week's vlog. So if you missed it, I took some already existing AI generated crochet patterns and I tried to make them as best I could. I gave them my best good faith shot using my skills as a 32-year crochet veteran. And they turned out, of course, nothing like the product images. This is supposed to be a dragon, not a snake. And it's supposed to have spikes down the back, not a slip stitch down the belly. And this is supposed to be a pony. And it's supposed to have regular pony legs. Anyway, so yeah, go check out that last week's vlog if you haven't after this one or before this one, either way. But it got kind of a lot of my reels on social media, my short form where I just showed the pattern and then the result kind of took off a little bit. They've gotten a lot of views and several comments. So maybe that's a way I can kind of garner a little bit of attention for my social media and grow a little bit. Is maybe if I do this occasionally, make an AI pattern that already exists. I'm not going to go generate anything new because there are so many patterns already in existence. And I showed you one in last week's video. By the end of the video, a Marilyn Monroe doll that I found that I kind of think I have to make because it has instructions for a muzzle and a tail. So I think I'm going to do that maybe this video because I don't have any orders right now. As you can see over here, I've been working on these mouth puppets. You saw me working on these in last week's video if you watched that. And they are almost done. So I've got the tongues there. These are a big seller of mine, which is why I have a bunch here that I'm working on to keep up, to have some stock of these, because they are right now sitting in like 7 shopping carts and I can expect to sell probably that many in the next few months, couple months maybe. So all I have left to do on this batch is add buttons here, little loops with yarn for attaching to the buttons. So that will demonstrate for SLPs and for what's it called? Lactation consultants as a demonstrating tool for what the mouth looks like with and without tongue ties. And then also I have a little part at the back here that I add on both sides that I call hinges. So I already have those made. I just need to stitch them on. So I'm just showing you where I'm at with that. I will finish those next in my crochet work. And then the next thing I crochet might just have to be that Marilyn Monroe doll. And I already kind of broke down a little bit of the pattern in last week's video, showing how you can tell that it's AI generated. But obviously I'll show it again here. And then I don't know what I'm going to do with these. If I keep doing this, I mean, I'm going to start collecting these oddball things that, I mean, of course I could like undo them, but it's like not worth the yarn, I think, in the time spent to undo them and reuse the yarn. It's kind of more like I'll have a little collection going. Maybe if it takes off and people love them because they're funny, maybe I can actually post them in my shop for sale. I don't know. Or raffle them off or, you know, have a giveaway or something like that. Let me know in the comments if you have an idea for me with what I could do with these, or just donate them. Although I feel kind of bad donating really oddball, especially the Marilyn Monroe with a muzzle and a tail. I can't donate that to like a children's hospital or something. So, and just a reminder, this is the scarf that's supposed to be like a full-on dragon scarf. You can barely wrap it around once the way it's supposed to. Anyway, once again, check out my previous blog if you want to see more about these two guys. But basically, last week and this week, I have had less time for crocheting because I'm currently on a jury. So I can't talk about that, obviously, but by the time this video goes live, trial should be over. So I probably can talk about it, but I don't think I need to. You know, that's not what this channel is about. And yeah, I don't know if I want to talk about that or not, but it is fascinating being on a trial. I feel the weight for sure of the responsibility in being really reasoned with my thinking and, you know, trying to think of all the scenarios that are possibilities when you hear the evidence. So yeah. So anyway, I feel honored to have been selected to be on the jury. I'm doing my civic duty. Today we had a 3-hour lunch break. So, and I can't take crochet in with me. So I could leave crochet out in my car, and I was thinking about doing that if I got to the point where I needed something to do. But I've just been utilizing my time sitting in the jury assembly room on my phone, updating listings in my shop, because I gave myself something I wanted to update for all of my listings in my shop, and I have hundreds of listings on Etsy, and so it takes me a while to just, you know, swap out this section of verbiage in the listing descriptions for every listing. So I sat there for 3 hours today and did that. I did take breaks from doing that and did some other like video editing and stuff. At least with what I'm doing, posting so much and making content, I can kind of plan to do a lot of that when I'm there on my phone and focus on my crocheting at home. But yeah, so I think tomorrow trial will be over. And I'm very curious to see how this all goes. I think I know how it's going to go. I think I know. But I don't know for sure. So anyway, I just wanted to fill you in on that and get a start at this vlog, because we are now on Wednesday, and I don't really have any grand plans other than just some batch making of best-selling items of mine, and maybe doing more AI patterns. Oh, and I also wanted to really emphasize that if other people are interested in doing this to show basically how crappy AI generated patterns are, don't do it in the way that you go and create your own patterns to then follow. Please don't do that. I don't want to encourage anybody to go make more, because there are so many out there already that are freely floating around, especially on Facebook. It seems there are whole Facebook pages devoted to just like vomiting out these AI slop patterns. So there are so many in existence already. Let's not go create any more. If you want to join me, please go on ahead and we can show how a real item where we're really trying to follow the instructions will not turn out like the picture. And yeah, the pattern, the instructions have been so such that I have to like make decisions all along the way of, am I going to follow the instructions for the stitches in like the actual line of instructions, or am I going to go with the total stitch count at the end and make it fit that stitch count? So there are, because a lot of these, this one especially had a lot of contradicting information within the pattern where I had to make choices which part of the pattern I was going to do. And then my other rule is, if it doesn't indicate something like color, I will try to go off of the image. That's why the head here is this beige color. But then if another section, like the body, says brown, I'm just going to use the brown, even though it's not like that in the picture. So whenever the pattern actually in words states something, I'm going to try to follow it if I can, unless it contradicts something else, in which I'll have a choice to make. And so, yeah, I'm in good faith trying to take as much of the instructions as literally as possible. And so, yeah, there we have it. One of the things that I had to make a choice on was that this one said it had a section for arms, for the pony's arms, which I took to mean the front legs. But it actually had two sections for arms. One section had me make them this way. The other section had them, they were going to be much more bulbous like this. And I just decided to go with the first section, the first set of instructions for the arms. So that's what these are. And then this is what was labeled as the legs. So I assumed that they meant the back legs for the legs. I say they, it was a machine that did these decisions, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I will sign out for now and do some more work on these. When I'm making 7 at a time right now. Even one simple step of it, like adding the buttons for 7 of them, takes a bit of time. So I'll do one step further in these and probably take a little break and do something else, like maybe get started on the Marilyn Monroe. Oh, also, we are now in the 3rd month of the year. So now I can also, this is what I'll start doing for this video as well. I'll pull out yarns and decide what I want to use for the 3rd of my 4 kid blanket project that I'm doing. I'm making a blanket for each of the 4 kids in my life over the course of this year. So I have a section of one of the blankets to make each month to stay on track. So I can start that blanket as well. So there you go. That's what I have in my mind for working on this week for this vlog. And I'll just take you along with me for the week. All right, trial is over. I'm certain I did the right thing. I'm certain we all did the right thing. The more we discussed all of the thoughts that we had throughout the trial and the possibilities that we were imagining as alternate scenarios, the more we really zeroed in on being sure of the person's guilt. So I definitely felt the weight of that today, and I'm glad we did the right thing. I'm certain beyond a reasonable doubt we did the right thing. So anyway, besides that, if you hadn't noticed, look at this. Oh my goodness. So my customer, who you've probably seen me wear a big moonstone pendant, it's not quite this big. She not only paid me with money, but she also paid me with pendant for this vest initially. So this is an adaptation of Starlily's design for the Flower of Life Flower of Life Fae Vest. And I adapted it to have a heart at the center back. Also, my customer wanted it with buttons instead of a tie in the front. It's gorgeous, right? I don't know why I'm holding my mic instead of clipping it, but that's okay. So, however, my customer needs me to readjust it down a bit in the bust. And I said I should be able to do that quite easily by just redoing these rows that are across the front bust area, because I made those taller to adapt for a larger bust size. And now that we're taking it down, I don't have to undo the whole thing. I just need to undo the rows from here to here about where I made those stitches taller. So it's a bit of extra work, but not completely remaking the whole thing. And she asked if I would be down for another trade to pay for it, and I said, when she showed me the pendants that she had available, I zeroed in on this one. And can you blame me? And I feel kind of bad because it's like so spectacular. I feel kind of bad I took this one off of her. It's labradorite, but look how gorgeous she encircled it with these beads. Let me scoot closer. And look how it goes with my rings. These are all different. I think I remember this one is malachite. I'm not completely sure. This is turquoise. This one in the middle might also be the same as this. I'm not sure. It looks the same. And then this is labradorite. But look how well this all go together. Oh my God. So I'm kind of beside myself. So thank you, Subhadra. I'm not sure exactly what you go by, but I will get to working on this in just a minute because I am, well, more than a minute, several minutes. I have just the final touch of those to do. I've already got the loops on for the buttons, and they just need their hinges stitched on, and I have them right there. So I want to finish those so I can put them away, and then I'll get to making this, well, reconfiguring this. And I think I'll give it a new photo shoot. You know, why not? Any opportunity, new pendant, new custom fitting, sizing, and any excuse to try to showcase my work anew. Happy Friday. We are now at Friday. I didn't get as much work done as I thought I would yesterday. I ended up just feeling really tired. I think being on the jury for that trial, just I felt sort of emotionally and physically tired. So because I take that kind of thing really seriously. So I think my brain was just really sleepy and I went to bed early last night. But I did finish all 7 mouth puppets. La 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 la. So I have a drawer. I can go put these in now. And I will get going on the alterations of that vest before I do the new AI pattern. That had so much positive reaction that I want to do another one. Yeah, if it gets me a little bit more eyes on my shop or my social media, it's all the better. So yeah, I'm going to go put these away. I'm going to start cutting into this, which sounds scary, but it's not. I know exactly what I need to do. And the cool thing is, for each row that I'm going to cut and undo a section of, as I redo it, I will have more than enough yarn to redo each row because each row is going to be redone in stitches that are smaller than what's there now. So I will have some strands of leftover yarn. I'm not sure how much leftover yarn I'll have. I'm going to see if my customer wants it, if she would want to use it for like tying up packages or making something else with. If she doesn't want it, I'll just add it to my scraps. If it's long enough, I'll use it to tie up packages. If it's too short, I'll use it for potentially turning into yarn later from my yarn scraps. So that'll be fun, making some more yarn scraps yarn at some point, maybe soon. Not just yet, though. I have a few other things here that I need to get to first. Okay, funny little story. I think I was wearing this same dress the last time I was making either this or the other jewel-toned item for this customer. Because look, I remember noticing how well it matches. But so I just thought I'd show you how I'm doing this. So I kind of forgot this isn't just like a straight line across that I'm undoing, because this is where I've been coming up for the end of each full round. So what I've done here is this is the final outside row. I've snipped the yarn here because this is where the stitches start to get taller, as you can see from here to here. And I undid it to about here where it stops and it connects to the row below. So then that's that extra yarn there. And then I had to continue a new unraveling from this side down to here. And then this is that saved yarn that I will continue from here. So I have to undo each row like that until I get down to where I was really expanding them, and roll up little balls. And then, because I can only build the rows from, the bottom layer on outward. So I forgot that this side of the garment will have that eccentricity to the rows. The other side won't have any of that. It'll just be a complete straight shoot across rather than like from here to there and from here to there. But that's what it's going to be like for each of these. But that's okay. There's going to be plenty of excess yarn. On the other side, I just have the extra step of removing buttons first. And then it'll be completely simple. So, yeah. All that means, really, all I mean to say in that is that each one of these rows is split. It's two sections of yarn coming down. So that's why I'll have a continuing ball here, and then I'll just have to tie on from that when I run out. If I run out, this might be enough to, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so I came down and I did undo this brighter turquoise round, or the row from here to here, and redid it all in just these double crochets again, because I had expanded it to treble crochets here. As you can see, I also have this row and this row with taller stitches here, trebles, as opposed to the doubles that are here. But I'm going to leave those because when I was comparing this section of the sweater, which is like the regular stitches, to the other side, this section with the taller stitches, it seemed like if I just redid it from this row on, I will be reducing it by the right amount for each side. So I'm reducing the bust size by about 7 inches. So I only need to take it in on each side about 3.5 inches. So yeah, I'm gonna leave these two rows expanded the way they are, as you can see right here. This row, this purple row, this sequin yarn. Let's see if we can see a sequin. There we go. I used a double strand because it's really thin. And as you can see, when I undid this turquoise row to here, I had to get the turquoise off of this purple because I had tied them together to continue the turquoise. So then I had just a tiny bit of length of this purple to then reattach this side to this side. Because remember, this was the start of the round that goes around the whole vest, and this was the end of it. So that's what this is. I'll use my needle and very carefully try to poke these ends in so they're hidden. And then as you can see over here, I have my little lineup of balls of yarn so that I can continue with this round, and then this round, and then this one, this purple one, then this sparkly purple one, then this lighter purple one, and then finally this one. So I've got my little lineup of balls of yarn, and if any of these aren't quite enough, I have these extra yarns over here. So it's kind of fun. Okay, this is super, super cool. So this side I just redid, as you can tell by those ends, the new ends that I need to weave in. And my guesstimation about only going back to redo all the rows, starting with this brighter turquoise, was perfect, because I just measured, and from the bottom of this turquoise to the outside shell is 5 inches on this side, and it's like 8.5 inches on this side, and I was shooting for going down on each side by 3.5 inches. So pat on my own back. And this is the extra yarn from just this side that we have recovered. So I will ask my customer if she would like that for any reason. I think she said she was starting to learn to crochet herself. There's not much you can do with these, and each one of these balls is multiple, like at least 2 or 3 shorter strands rolled up. And I just rolled it up, you know, each type with itself, for the purpose of adding back into my scraps if she doesn't care for it, because then I can just use a few scraps to use that up. I could put those into a Nana or something, but yeah, if she wants them, if she has any use for them, she can have them, because I'm going to have another little set of extra yarn from this side. First, I need to cut these buttons off, and then this side will be a little bit more straightforward, because it will just be straight across for each of these rows. There's not like they're on this side is, like I explained, the beginning and end of each round. This side is just going to be straight across. And actually, as I restitched this one, you know, after I secured this together, I just went straight across. So stitching them straight across is going to be about the same. It was just undoing it was a little bit different. Well, hello, it is now Monday, and we've had some house guests, so I've been not recording segments, but I need to show you what I've done and finish up this video for this week. So what I'm showing you here is the vest that I finished altering for my customer, who gave me that gorgeous pendant. I will also show you a close-up video I took of that pendant to try to show it off. And then also the other day, I was in the car and I noticed the pendant reflecting light on my arms. So I'll show you that too. All these like different colors of little spots of light being reflected off of all the beads around that pendant. So gorgeous. So I'm super stoked to have that, and such a statement piece. And I'm going to send just a little gift along with the vest, because that's a pretty spectacular pendant. So then the next thing I did, I mentioned, actually, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I did need to get another Nana in. So what I did actually with this one is, from this color here up through this greenish color here, these are the yarns that were left over after doing the alterations on that vest. And these are the buttons that were on the vest, because she's not going to have buttons on it anymore. And so this is Nana Subhadra. Subhadra. I think that's how you say it. I'm not completely sure. She also goes by Subi. And so this is Nana Subhadra, which I will be releasing on Wednesday, the day after tomorrow. Number 71. It will be available in my shop. All of the Nanas that I sell, proceeds minus shipping and Etsy fees, will be donated to the ACLU. It's my anti-Trump art project. I've made one every week since he was elected, and I'm going to keep doing it until he's gone. And sales are not keeping up with me making these, but that's okay. I'm stockpiling them, and at some point maybe people will continue to buy them until they're gone. So there's that. And I promised I was going to get going on the Marilyn Monroe. The Marilyn Monroe AI generated crochet pattern that includes instructions for a muzzle and a tail, apparently. So I didn't document any of this as I made it. I just did this morning. I made all the parts. It doesn't specify yarn size or weight. It doesn't specify hook size. And most of it doesn't specify what color I should be using. So it actually says for the head to use cream. So here's the head, but it does show pictures of each along the way. So I will show you each step along the way, the part that I made and that set of instructions. So here's the head. It says cream, but as you can see in the pattern, it's showing like a skin tone color. So that's what I took as them meaning cream. And then for the body, it's funny, it gives two different pictures for the body, but this is what I came up with. And because the picture shows it from like narrower on the top and wider on the bottom, I'm assuming that this part is the top and this part is the bottom, although there are two different pictures with two different shapes, so whatever. But that's the shape that it gives instructions for. Then here are the arms. They don't look anything like the arms pictured, and by the way, the arms pictured that they have, the arms that they have pictured don't match at all. Short, little, fat, stubby arms. Then we come to the legs. Once again, totally different. Here are the legs. And then at the end of the legs instructions, it just says with white to do a chain and some single crochets, and then a few more single crochets, and it says heel. So I guess this is going to kind of somehow stitch onto the bottom of the leg as the shoe, but I don't know which part is the bottom of the leg. I'll have to determine that when I'm stitching it together. So this is not clear at all how I'm going to stitch this together and which parts are up and down and whatnot. Here are the ears. It says to fold and stitch onto the head. So I'm assuming we're folding it in half like that, and that it will stitch on, like if I give it a curve, this is my best guess, a curve like that, and stitch it on. She'll have big ol' honkin' ears. And then here's Marilyn Monroe's tail. It doesn't say what color to stitch it in, but the picture shows something kind of like this in the skin tone with like little sprigs of like white hair, but it doesn't say to attach any lengths of yarn for hair. So I just decided to crochet this bit in the skin tone. Kind of like, I'm imagining it's going to look kind of like a dinosaur tail, a little bit. And then here's her muzzle, which I think actually is about, I think it's the same pattern as the ears. So that'll be her muzzle. It says to attach it below the eyes. And and then yes, next is her hair. And it just says crochet 35 chains and then 3 double crochets in the second chain from the end, and then a slip stitch. And then it says something like twist and attach around the head. That doesn't really make any sense, and it doesn't say to make more than one, but attaching around the head makes me think that I'm supposed to make more than one. So I actually made 10, and because I don't want to spend forever on this, I just made 10. I will attach them at the top of her head and determine whether I really want to make more or not. We'll see. Because like I said, I don't want to devote any more time to this, and already the skirt took a little while. So then the last part of the actual crochet instructions say to make, it just says to do a chain and a row of double crochet halter style. Halter style. There's a row of double crochet, and what I guess what they mean by the machine means by halter style is maybe I just drape it around her body like this to like kind of be the halter top. And then this is the skirt. This is 60 stitches around. This at its widest is, I think, like maybe 30. I think this is 30 stitches at its widest around. And that means that this skirt is like double the width that it needs to be to fit around the body. So what I'm gonna do is I will stitch it on like so. Like I'll just tack it down here and then like split the difference and go here and split the difference and go here and just kind of like keep like tacking it in. It'll just have to gather in at the center. And there are actually two different sets of instructions for the clothing. And one has you do only 2 rows of the skirt and the other has you do 3 rows. And I decided to do the one with 3 rows because it seemed like it was going to be really short. And yeah. And not to mention, you know, she's just going to be bare bottom underneath because there's no instructions for undies. And so that's that. I just need to, it does say to embroider the eyes and mouth and blush for the cheeks. So I'll do all that. I will do all that. I will put it together and we'll see what it looks like. I'm not going to try to do any spectacular fancy embroidery for the eyes. I'm just going to do my standard style from like back in the day where I just do a dot with 3 little black lashes. So it'll be 3 black lashes and a blue dot for the eye. And I guess I'll embroider a simple red mouth on the muzzle. So this is going to be funny. And I'll show you when that's finished. And then I really just need to wrap up this video. I'm not getting to the blanket squares for my 3rd blanket this chapter, but that's what I'll be starting next for next week's video. So sorry I didn't get to that this week. Yeah, like I said, I've been busy with guests and, you know, just crocheting while visiting and not documenting. And so I feel like I don't have as much for this week, but it's still going to be a vlog for the week, what I did this week. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is my cool new shirt. Woodstock, 1969. It's one of those where they cut a t-shirt apart and then they put like scarf material down the sides. So it's a big old flowy, loose top. Sorry if I'm shaking my mic and making it sound funny. So I'm gonna put that together and I'll touch base with you again before I sign out for the week. By the way, I just wanted to mention that nobody can claim copyright protection over AI generated stuff. So like these patterns or artwork that is generated by AI or works of writing are not protected by copyright law. There was a court ruling about that just recently. So basically, this is up for grabs. I'm free to use this and share it, even though here at the bottom of this pattern, it says it's trying to indicate that it is copywritten and that it is for personal use only. However, I found this scrolling on Facebook, and when I clicked into it, this is pretty bold of the person, unless it's actually a Facebook page which is run by AI, which is possible. I think that is happening. This Crocheta page, if that's how you say it, is generating these patterns like crazy. And I think there are a lot of Facebook pages doing this. And as you can see at the bottom, it says for personal use. However, personal doesn't even have proper letters for the whole word. So it's pretty obvious that this is AI generated. The person cannot claim ownership of it in terms of like coming after me for using it and sharing it or anything like that. So I just wanted to put that out there, let you guys know that that is the case. And which is a great thing for us creators, that even though people may be selling patterns like this on Etsy, I mean, they should be reported and taken down, but they are not protected the same way we who actually write human written patterns are protected. Out of the 3 AI patterns that I have transformed into actual objects, I think you would have to agree with me that this result is the farthest from the product image. So I'm calling her Monkey Monroe, and I thought she could have her photo shoot up in the tree. If you're at all inspired to do this also, to show off how bad AI patterns are, please just don't generate new ones. There are plenty in existence already. Every time I make one of these, I feel like I have to save face. So I thought of this Bjork doll because I haven't actually made a Marilyn Monroe doll, and I didn't want to take on making one just to prove this point. But I feel like her hair is pretty similar and the dress is actually pretty similar. And so you can see that I am actually an artist. Thanks for hanging out with me this week. Please come back next Tuesday. Subscribe, hit the little bell icon so that you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. Crochet hooks and colors bright, crafting wonders day and night. Join the fun, come see it through. Subscribe and I'll create for you.